Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Masterbooks podcast. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today, we are going to talk about successfully preparing your homeschool student for graduation from high school. Rachel Smith is back on the show to talk to us about creating a successful plan for your students' education and graduation. So, today we are talking about all things graduation, getting ready to graduate. So, the right courses, transcripts, diplomas, entrance exams, record keeping, and more. So, let's get started. Welcome to the Masterbooks podcast, where we bring you conversations that will strengthen your biblical worldview and the faith of your family. I'm Jennifer White, publicist at Masterbooks, a division of New Leaf Publishing Group. As host of this show, I'll be opening the doors to the Masterbooks family library of books, authors, and curriculum. For over 45 years, our company has been about one thing: ink on paper to touch eternity. In a world increasingly at war with God, we are publishing to partner with you to disciple your family, the church, and the nations. So today on the show, I have Rachel Smith. She is Masterbooks Customer Service Supervisor and a homeschool mom of 4. She has already graduated 2 of her daughters and continues to homeschool 2 of her sons. So thanks for joining us today, Rachel.
Happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here to share your expertise. Tell us about your personal experience in helping students graduate from high school with Masterbooks.
Okay. Well, my personal experience is that I have 2 daughters who are college students. My oldest is a senior this year in college. She's studying elementary education. And then my second is a junior, and she is studying physical therapy with sports medicine. And so both of those girls use Masterbooks all the way through high school. My first one began using some of Masterbooks during her 9th grade year, and then primarily all Masterbooks during 10th grade. The second one, all for junior high and high school. And they were very well prepared. They've excelled in college. They've done well. They did well on college entrance exams. And so then also I work with students who are other families who are homeschooling, and I help them with their transcripts and college entries.
I love that. So you've got a great background to give us the information that we need today, because at Masterbooks, we are creating this curriculum to help your family disciple your student, but also to make sure they're successful in life, in college and career. And you have your own personal experience that it does work. And then you get to talk to people that tell you that it does as well. So we love that. So some parents will be preparing their students for college while others are their student is not going to go to college. Talk to us about how that impacts the students' choices and the teachers' choices about their courses and how they plan.
Absolutely. First of all, it's very individualized. You do need to know your state laws and see what you're required to take by state. But even in that, they might tell you need 4 science classes. So keep that in mind with your student, even for the career choice that they're thinking or the college they're planning to go to. You want to check with that college, see if they require any specific courses or prefer specific courses that would help your student to be accepted. And then as far as a career, same thing. What are courses that would help them the most after high school for that career? And we offer a wide variety of unique classes that can be very helpful in all of the subjects down through electives and everything. So check with those, and it can be individualized for each student.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So did your students, your own children, did they take specific things knowing where they were going, or did they know what kind of career they wanted to have?
My oldest, who is studying elementary education, she has always felt called to missions. And so we don't know. She's studying elementary education. She is engaged and getting married to a missionary's son. And so we don't know what the Lord will have furthering for her life. But yes, she did take some courses that were very helpful for her in that. One of those, our Comparative World Religions course. That once she told us, and then we have some other books that Masterbooks offers that are one of my personal favorites is Great for God. And that is a book that talks about specific missionaries and what they did for God. So once we knew those things for her, we did pick specific courses for that. My second daughter, who's studying sports medicine, honestly, the Lord worked this out because she originally was graphic design, and she
Okay.
began her freshman year with graphic design. So she did do some art classes and that type of thing.
Mhm.
But then she switched to sports medicine and physical therapy, which kind of we were shocked by. But I feel like the Lord even directed those because she did our advanced pre-med course that
Oh,
offered. That was just one that she picked when she had an option of her sciences. So I'm thankful that she took that advanced pre-med course, which is helpful to her now. Yeah.
that's excellent. So tell us more about what you see other families doing. If they know they're going to college, what kind of courses are they choosing at Masterbooks?
Well, science is a big one as far
Mhm.
as if you know specifically that your student is going to be in a science and math driven type of career, then we do offer those sciences now all the way up to physics, and
Okay.
and then we have the labs through our masterbooks academy. You can
Yeah.
join that and get the labs that are very helpful. So even if you feel like in your area there's nowhere for them to go and do labs with others, or within your home you just don't feel equipped to do those labs,
Mhm.
that is a great way to get those labs in. You can watch and do it right alongside and have that instructor. And so that is one area that a lot of families are using with our Masterbooks Academy and with our sciences. And they're very thankful for those labs for their students that are going into those science and math courses, where colleges are looking that they've gone all the way up to those upper levels. With that, same thing with our math going through. Those are all very helpful for those students going into science and math. Language arts, English, we have many options for that where you can focus on things. I personally have loved for my students that were going into college for that. I've loved the vocabulary, the Jensen's vocabulary and format writing for that, because the Jensen's vocabulary makes it where even with college entrance exams, you can look at a word and you can know the different parts of the word, not necessarily know that definition, but from just knowing those parts and things that you've learned in Jensen's vocabulary, you're able to make a very good guess on what that
Mhm.
word means
Right.
for, and that has helped for college entrance exams with my
Mhm.
own children, I know.
That's wonderful. So what about college entrance exams? How should a mother or a parent, homeschool parent using Masterbooks prepare for their child's college entrance exams? What do they need to be thinking about in the ninth grade or the 10th grade so that that exam thing is not going to be so stressful?
We have a cumulative record.
Mhm.
Within this, we have a transcript form. And so we have a template that you can use. This to me is where you need to start that freshman year. Pull this
Okay.
template out and make a plan. You're not saying this is definitely what we're doing, but we're making a plan. And within here, you can see the different boxes. That's for each subject.
Okay.
So make a plan of, okay, this is where you plan to head with your career. This is where you plan to head with your college. These are some courses that you need to take. So let's make a plan for your math, and let's write in which math courses you probably should take. Then let's look at your language arts and history and science. And so continue on and make that plan based upon what their interests are for career, what is needed for those college choices. Obviously, this plan might change, but this is just a plan, and then that gives you an idea where you have an outline of their high school years of what your goals are. It's important to set goals, even as homeschool families, and a lot of people are overwhelmed with those high school years. And once you have this goal, this plan, it's easy from year to year. You don't have to question what you're doing. You can just make adjustments as needed. And so that's what my number one recommendation is. Make a plan. This is a great, we offer this. It's a great choice, but of course you can make your own as well. Just have some
Mhm.
kind of outline of what you want to do those years.
Right. And for those of you who are not watching this episode, I'm going to put the links to the cumulative record in the show notes so that you can take a look at it and see if that's something you'd like to use. It's very inexpensive, but a very great tool to help you be prepared. And it starts, you can use it from the very beginning. It doesn't have to
Mhm.
start at the ninth grade. And there's more to it than just planning their academics, right? Tell
Yes.
us a little more about it.
There are within it, you have different goals, like where you can write down even things like this is what they did best at this year. This is an area in their personal life where they improved this year. These were the books they read this year. That type of thing, front and back.
Okay.
So on the back, it has a spiritual record, any Bible apologetics, any spiritual strengths and successes, any challenges and goals they had for that year. It lists physical strengths as well, which to me, that's really important. The physical part more when they're in those younger years, because I know as parents, we often forget when they made those goals of being able to do things as little ones. And mine are all older now. So my youngest will be 15 next week. And so they're from 15 to 21. And I know as a mom, I love when I just unexpectedly find something from those early years. So to me, this cumulative record is a great memento, even just for moms to be able to see what you've written in here for their physical strengths, their spiritual strengths. And then it has social strengths as well. That's fun to look back at as a mom. I wish I had used this in those early years.
Well, for me, listening to you talking about it, it seems like it's also a way for you to celebrate your own success as a mother. This is what I accomplished that year with my child. One of the, just some of the things that I accomplished. Surely you're not going to have everything written in there that they did or that you impact the ways that you impacted their life, but you're getting to see encapsulated this picture of I did something.
Right.
We did something together. This works. Look what worked, because you can get discouraged if something's happening that's challenging and forget that this was, there were good things. We did good things.
Yes, absolutely. I know that all of us, we have ups and downs through our homeschool year, and it is important. I've right now in my life specifically, I'm working more on journaling that, because there are days where I'm just down, whether it's in my personal life, spiritual life, school life, and I want to be able to go back and remind myself of those highs. And okay, don't be focusing on the negative. Let's go back and look at those highs. And so, yes, this absolutely could do that. And then I know when my children graduated from homeschool, I mean, obviously, all of our fears is we're going to mess them up. Like every mom I ever talk with, whether it's my personal friends or moms through masterbooks, every one of us, when we get high school, especially, we're just afraid we're going to mess something up for them. And so I know when my children when they graduated, they took those college entrance exams, they had all of those scholarships and acceptance letters. It was just as much my celebration as it was theirs. Like, we graduated, we've been accepted. So yes, absolutely.
I love that. And I do encourage you all to celebrate your successes. One of my best friends has homeschooled 3 children, and she's just finished this year with her 3rd, and she's coming to visit in a few weeks. And we're going to celebrate. We're going to have like a retirement party for her because she's done with that part of her life. And we need to own it, we need to celebrate it. So, okay, back to high school. I want you to talk a little bit about, some people fear that because our lessons in the early stages of homeschooling are gentle and maybe not so long, they're not drill and kill. They're designed to help the student learn to love to learn and to build up their confidence. But some people look at that and, without seeing the big picture, think that our curriculum might not be enough. And what they're probably saying is, when I get to the end of the road and people are looking at me as their teacher for their success, I don't want to fail. And so I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that. Like, how would you answer a mom who had that concern?
Yes, it is gentle in the beginning, but it's needed. I can give you my personal experience, and this is usually what I do share with moms who call into masterbooks or that I get to email with, from my own 2 children. So my youngest son has some learning struggles. He was in traditional school for preschool and kindergarten and 1st grade, and we pushed him too much. He entered kindergarten at 4 years old. and began a very rigorous kindergarten curriculum, and then through first grade as well. I truly believe that developmentally he was not ready, and I
Mhm.
pushed him into that. And we are still dealing with some of those struggles that I think we caused early on. And so I'm seeing him now. He's in ninth grade now, and he has progressed so much. Masterbooks has made him a successful student. It has given him confidence to that he can do this. I will never forget the day that we sat at our dining room table, and he said, "I am smart."
Oh,
And the emphasis was on the am, like, I am. I'm not dumb. I can do this. And it was because he developmentally just wasn't ready for what we were giving him
mhm,
before. And then now, and he thought he was dumb. And so then that he was defeated before he ever began.
mhm.
And so I'm very thankful personally for that. And I see that his progression, and he is now doing very well as a ninth grade student. He has a couple of things that he's still behind on, but we're working through them. I have no doubt in my mind that Masterbooks helped to build that confidence in him, helped to build his learning at the level and pace that he needed,
Mhm.
and was gentle enough, not overwhelming, to where now at ninth grade, he is, for the most part, where he needs to be and is able to move forward. Um, my other students, so my daughters that are now college students, my son Asher, my third child is done Masterbooks from upper elementary all the way through. He's a senior this year,
Okay.
and he has very successfully started college courses already his junior year. He was able to be dually enrolled. So he definitely Masterbooks all the way, upper elementary all the way through. And here he is taking these college courses, and some very difficult ones. We chose the difficult ones so that he could do those at home rather than being thrown into college life, where college time is busy. And so we
Mhm.
chose those here at home, some hard language arts courses, history courses.
Okay.
Uh, he has done so well with those, and not skipped a beat and with that. So Masterbooks is definitely, so from my experience with a struggling student, and then
Mhm.
also with an average student, I've seen great success with both of them. Masterbooks has definitely been enough, even with that gentler, but it builds so gentle, and then we start getting to junior high, and then by the time they're in high school, there are some great requirements on them from Masterbooks
Right.
the time they're in high school, and they're able to handle it. Mine have not had a problem with that.
I love that. And I love that Masterbooks developed this Masterbooks method that really takes the whole child into consideration and their development so that they can develop to that place of being so confident like your
Mhm.
son. And when children start with Masterbooks, what we see is that they love learning a lot earlier if that pressure is not there. And the same thing when they're younger. You were talking about, he was older when you figured it out and you had to work on it. But even if a young student is excels in certain subjects and doesn't need that slower pace, if you determine that, then you can in homeschool go as fast as you want to in that subject and as slow as you want to in another subject. I just think that's amazing.
With that, being able to excel through my second and third, Abby and Asher both, Abigail was able to finish a year early. That was never in the plan. It's just as she was, we just never stopped her. We let her keep
Mhm,
going.
mhm.
We weren't like, okay, this year's over. You don't have any more. We just, let's get the next book and keep going.
I
And so
love that.
absolutely, when they can excel, that's encouraging to them. Like we've already talked, it builds their confidence. And
Right.
so I agree 100%.
I love hearing that. That's amazing. So, Randy Pratt, the president of our company and a homeschool father of 9, gives homeschool teaching tips every week on our social media platforms. I
Mhm.
will link those below if you're interested in tuning in live for the live streams. But I would love for you to share something that he has shared over the years that you took to heart and put into practice in your homeschool that really helped you and your students.
I have so many,
Okay.
honestly. But one we already talked about, you mentioned, where each child is different and we have to look at the whole child.
Mhm.
Randy really discusses that often, looking at the whole child. I come from an education background personally, where I stepped out of the classroom into homeschooling. And
Mhm.
I had to get out of that box. I was not looking at the whole child. I was looking at more at just the academics and what we have to do. He helped me so much with that, especially with my youngest son, with I need to look at everything. I need to look at them developmentally. I need to look at them spiritually as
Mhm.
well as academically. So that he helped me with that. And then another thing he's helped me with is the spiritual is more important than the academic. As a family, ultimately, homeschooling, we have such a great opportunity with our children to have them with us and disciple them every day. And that is far more important than what they're learning in a textbook.
Mhm.
He really has encouraged me through the years in that way of how, of course, as a mom, and I'm a pastor's wife as well, I know that I am an example to them. But
Mhm.
he really helped me to understand, even in our schooling, that's the most important thing.
Right.
Also, don't compare.
Mm.
Don't compare what I'm doing to what everybody else is doing. Don't compare my children to everybody else's children. Again, every child's individual. We're not competing against anyone. We're not having to measure up to anyone. We're not behind. We're right where we need to be.
Oh my goodness, that is such good advice. Just imagine if you and I had our own education that way, where we weren't like, I've got to beat so and so, or they beat me and they made a better score, or what if, somebody sees my grade, or all that pressure that keeps you from having your mind free to learn,
Mhm.
free to take in and be curious. You've got this anxiousness that's taking up way too much space, and your curiosity goes so low.
Yes. I know in my own home, my
Mhm,
older two, and then my young, so I have two girls and two boys. I feel like even because of these tips and helps from Randy,
mhm.
my boys have gotten a completely different education than my girls did.
Wow.
My girls, you want to go back and redo at times, and it's because
Mhm.
I have changed, and
Sure.
they had more of that academics, academics, academics. Whereas my boys have had more of the explore and learn and focus on you and
Mhm.
type of thing. My girls got some of it, but I was still such in that box and not realizing the true priority.
Right. And I think what's unique about our curriculum and our focus on ink on paper to touch eternity is that we are helping. There are two worlds, there's the kingdom, and then there's the world that we live in. And the kingdom is going to last forever. So we're always going to make sure that is first place, in the way that we are, the information we are presenting and the way we're presenting it as eternity. We're going to help your student be successful in the world in
Mhm.
which they are going to be prepared to help more people have eternity with the Lord. It's a beautiful thing to me to think of it that way, because generally education outside of this Christian biblical worldview homeschool is about being successful in this world the way the world calls success, not the way the Bible explains success to us. So
Absolutely. I think of my children as they are adults and we're further down the road and far removed from the school years. My desire, my prayer for my children is that they're honoring the Lord with their lives.
mhm.
And now, even in these school days, is the time, thankfully, for masterbooks through every course, every subject. They are teaching them not just, they are teaching them why do we believe this.
Mhm.
So I'm so thankful for that. It's not just because my mom and dad told me to. It's within the Bible. They're showing them through the Bible why we believe the things that we should believe, and why we should serve the Lord with our life. I'm so thankful for that being within master books, because I my prayer again is, as we're all adults, as they're adults, I'm looking at them, that I just see four children who are honoring the Lord with their lives
Mm.
more than I see four children that know science or know math.
Absolutely. And that takes me back to the book you mentioned earlier, Great for God. It's biographies of missionaries who might have been really small in the eyes of the world, but the way they gave their life and the things that God accomplished through them, that Ephesians 3:20, exceedingly and abundantly. They're incredible stories of love,
Yeah.
incredible stories of God's power. And I encourage all of you to check it out. So I've got one last question for you. In your opinion, what is one of the hidden gems in the Master Books catalog that many people might not even know that we published?
Well, we've mentioned it. Great for God, for sure.
Mhm.
So that would be just my own, like a personal reader that I enjoy and that I have given to my children and pass out to. I would show you a copy. I just bought 2 copies, but I've already given them away.
Oh my goodness. I should have had one handy.
But so that would be one for sure. And then the second, again, I've given my copy away, but this would be more on the academic side, and that's the Christian Reading Companion for 50 Classics.
Okay. Tell us about that.
So as an English teacher for many years and covering literature, we need to have that biblical perspective of looking at literature and knowing about the authors and their worldview and the
Mhm.
worldview that's taught through that. And so there are 50 classics that are, a lot of us have read, might be assigned through your child's schoolwork, might be just culturally a book that gets talked about and referred to frequently. That 50 classics reading companion will go through those books, tell you about the authors, give you some Christian perspective of those classics.
Mhm.
I think that's very needed, that Christian perspective of classics. We can't just ignore the classics. There's good and bad, but we
Mhm.
can't just ignore them. We have to be educated on them.
Absolutely. And what an opportunity in their future to be able to sit down and talk to people who loved the classics and maybe don't know the Lord
Mhm.
and or have a different idea rather than the biblical worldview, for them to have a Christian perspective of it and be able to have that conversation that could lead to salvation, could lead to, not eternity, not just for one person, but every person that person touches in the future.
Absolutely. And it's also a great, we're often asked through our customer service about reading
Mhm.
books. It is a great resource to use in those high school years when you're needing to find outside reading for your student. You can use some of the books from the classics and then have this reading companion to help you as the parent and teacher to bring in more of that biblical perspective of those books that they're reading for whichever English language arts course you're using.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us all of your wisdom, or some of your wisdom, in this 25 minutes that we've been together. But I'm so grateful that you're on the team. I'm grateful we get to work together. I'm grateful for your heart for God, and that you've got life testimony of children who are doing so well because they've used our curriculum and the other books, the apologetics, not just the curriculum. When I used to work in the office at Master Books at Green Forest, Arkansas, a long time ago, and back then we that was before we did homeschool curriculum. We have so many books, so many amazing books that will help you understand the Bible and defend the Bible. And I really challenge you to go to our website, masterbooks.com, and just check out our apologetics section, our creation section, our section on dinosaurs and Noah. There's so much more there that you may not know about. So check that out. And I just want to bless you in the name of Jesus and your family with wisdom and true humility and fear of the Lord that leads to riches and honor and long life. God bless you. Bye bye. Hey, thanks for joining the Master Books podcast. This was fun, and we are really glad you were with us. We invite you to check out masterbooks.com. We have a big library of books that will feed the faith of your family. And hey, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss an episode. We'll see you next time.